Children of Primus, collectors in disguise. Children of Primus, collectors in disguise. Children of Primus. Children of Primus.
So,
welcome.
based on something Sedum said at the end of last stream, has Transformers the movie ever been dubbed into Spanish? And if so, what is Till All or One in Spanish? And is the number uno in there?
Now that's
I just thought of that based on the way the last stream ended.
There you go. Skill testing question to throw into the comments.
Yeah.
So, Frenzy Freestyle Sunday, our Teletran 2 segment, as we separate the segments for Teletran 1, usually we have Impactor, who's our young collector in the disguise. Wasn't with us this week, but our Teletran 2 segment is our adult segment, no holds barred, but at the same time, we don't get too crazy unless Toy Warp and Sedum start arguing with each other. That's a whole other stream.
I mean, if we're all adults here, what the hell's Sedum doing anyway? Well, what's he doing here then?
Hey, Grandpa.
Experience, lad. You should learn to appreciate it.
There
Which I say
don't
all the
hang out
time to
down
all
to
my
my
Xbox
kneecaps.
buddies, and no one gets the reference. I'm glad to be in company that understands the damn reference.
And it's funny you say that because
Well, look at it this way: they think you're being original.
that's it. It's good having that company because I mean, sometimes people we work with or everyday things. We're around people who they don't understand this side of us. So it's like, you talk Transformers at work and they're like, yeah, I saw a couple episodes 40 years ago and that's the end of the conversation right there. But this week we're dealing with mental health. Before I bring in our guests, unfortunately, one of the guests who was going to join us this evening, is not able to, who is a London Green Ranger, and he wasn't feeling up to it being a guest and also had a few personal things to deal with. And I said, the streams, as much as we love hanging out and are fun, life does take precedence. And if, you and your family need time away from everything, to deal with personal things, that's totally acceptable because really that is the theme of what we're talking about tonight. So it's all good. But shout out to London Green Ranger from London, Ontario. He's won, I believe, 6 awards for doing mental health awareness within the community. And I'll play one of his clips because we did meet him at the Action Figure Comic-Con a few months ago. So in the background, before we bring our guests in, we have Lianne, who is one of our guests. She is a psychotherapist, and then we also have Gerrimy, who is also actually I'll let them introduce themselves one day once I bring them in because they can best describe their roles in what they do. So welcome Gerrimy and welcome Lianne.
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going?
Welcome, everyone.
Good. So, actually, I guess first, Gerrimy, what is your role and what do you do?
So that's actually a really long answer. Long story short, I am what's considered a macro level social worker. So I do a lot of work with public health education and mental health awareness, community building in my community, as well as a lot of public speaking across the states. My day job is I am the director of community health evaluations with a local nonprofit, and I am the adjunct professor of social work for Brescia University's Masters of Social Work program.
Your mango.
Oh, very cool. And Lianne, what do you do?
Nothing compared to that.
Oh,
Just kidding. So I am a registered psychotherapist working out of just outside of Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I have a private practice, a virtual practice, so I meet with my clients online for all kinds of mental health issues.
Interesting.
Yeah, cool. So as I was saying initially with Action Figure Comic Con, and I know it's going to be kind of a long-winded statement, but a friend of ours named Danny, who kind of, indirectly put all of us together, he had his first festival earlier this year in January, and one of his guests was London Green Ranger. He came on our stream because we were actually streaming the whole event, and he came on our stream talking about mental awareness. At the event, I also met someone else named Jordan Middlebrook, who has a show called By the Wayside, who I was a guest on his show a month ago. One of his questions he did ask was, is there negativity within the Transformers fandom? And I said, online and in many fandoms, there is negativity. But at the time, I didn't feel like I gave a full enough answer to his question. Coincidentally, a couple weeks later, within Facebook groups, there was a whole lot of different negative things going on, including one fan calling out another content creator, which I will kind of get into more details later, because that is that's a bit of a larger topic to talk about. But in terms of negativity, I guess in Transformers, cosplay, different events, and I guess I'll go to you, Gerrimy. What things have you seen, I guess, from younger audience members, people going to concerts, and what things do you have to deal with in terms of like negativity within fandoms?
So I think this is a really good question, and it's actually a pretty nuanced one. So let's break this apart a little bit at a time first, okay? So first off, fandoms are an intensely personal thing, right? This is a piece of you that you have an opportunity to express yourself. It's more than just a hobby. It's a sense of comfort. It's a sense of identity. And in many ways, it's a way for us to build our own self-resilience and awareness. Now, when groups that have an individual connection to something connect to one another in the form of a community like we see with fandoms, those personalities, how we view it, what our ship is, whatever, sometimes they don't necessarily jive with the other. So when people say that there's negativity or toxicity in fandoms or anything like that, my argument would be less so that there is a toxicity or a negativity there, and more that there's an issue with communication. Our sense of ownership, our sense of this is mine and not yours, so it has to be this way, is more of a kind of personal block that person just needs to kind of open up for. And fandoms and communities like that are a really good way to create that. But because in some cases that sense of community is that fandom, they don't have anything else, they haven't really, for lack of a better word, learned how to person, right? That kind of social awareness, that level of empathy, they haven't been able to place that outside of themselves and their connection to see how other people connect. Did that answer your question?
Yes. Now I'm going to throw this over to you, Toywarp, for a moment. And I know you're not just Transformers, but like Forza Motorsports that you guys play online. What negative things have you seen, or are there any negative things? Because I know there are some communities where really the negative side of it is the smaller percentage because everyone enjoys that time with each other. But are there anything that you've seen within your interaction within your crew?
There's no negativity per se in my crew, and let me tell you what, my crew is the finest one that there is in the community. My guys are, the fastest, the most supportive, the most creative. My crew is freaking awesome, and the whole division thing that media wants you to believe. Listen, man, we got white people, we got black, we got Asian, we've got trans, we've got gays. We all come together to play this game, and it doesn't matter what the background is. We all come together and work as a team to defeat other people in the game. When it comes to negativity in the game, really that comes down to other people racing clean. You're racing fender to fender at 200 mile an hour, bumps and scrapes are going to happen, and the occasional crash. That's just part of racing. But when somebody's just doing it on purpose and just ruining your experience online, that is a huge negative. And unfortunately there are players out there who that's their main goal, is just to ruin someone's playtime, someone's game time, and yeah, that's a real bummer sometimes. But that's about the most that negativity, exists in the Forza community. And I would imagine it's the same for just about any other racing community as well. Be it iRacing or the Need for Speed franchise or any of the other, racing franchises that are out there.
Now, Magnus, I see you have a kind of an interesting look on your face. What do you want to bring into the conversation?
Well, one, me and Gerrymy's group are the same group. Gerrimy is a member of my group. I'm a member of his group. We know each other personally. And those of you who have watched my wedding video, Gerrimy was the officiant. Gerrimy was Soundwave in my Transformers wedding.
Nice.
But what Tor was talking about there, the racing game. I don't play many racing games. I like them, but I just don't play very many of them. But there's one that I do play. And I do play with my friends, and it's usually a group of 3 or a group of 5. And I can't even tell you what the name of it is. It's on the PlayStation 5. But you basically playing like soccer with cars.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Rocket
Tim,
League.
am I talking about?
Rocket League,
Yeah,
that's
Rocket
it.
League.
It's called Rocket League. I suck. I absolutely suck.
I'm right with you.
Now, I can
I am
drive.
horrible. at that
I
game.
can drive, but I cannot backflip my car and make it knock a ball into the net on the other end. But there's another way to play this game, and it's called Extreme Offense. And you just race around and you take all the turbo boosts so that nobody else can get them. And then when you find out who their main scoring person is, you just
Dog
blast them and drive them into the wall and keep them out of the game.
Oh gosh.
And you turn a 3v3 into a 2v2, or you turn a 5v5, turn it into a 4v4, because I'm out of it and he's out of it. But that's all I'm going to do, is I am going to drive you 5 feet under the platform. That's my entire point of the game. I can hit another car. I can't hit that ball that's bouncing around here.
Yeah. Yep.
And when he said, there's these toxic people that are just there to ruin your game, and I was like,
I was like, oh, I'm one of them.
I resemble that remark because it's the only way I know how to play that game.
Oh dear.
But no,
So, something I was
my group, we do not tear each other down unless it's in jest. Now, we can be brutal to each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and that's just all in good fun. But there isn't a soul that I could think of that we consider in our circle that doesn't post, if they post something, need this, that there's not 5 or 6 immediately piled on it. What can I do to help? We just had a good friend of ours, George, just had surgery, and he was going to be out of it for a little bit. And every one of us were like, "Hey, do you need us to go to the store? Does somebody need to come by and get you some? Do we need to come by and help you get in and out of the bedroom? Let us know." And we all build each other up. We have another friend of ours. One of them's dad is in real bad shape and lives across the country, and so she had to fly out, and he had to fly out, and they needed someone to take care of their pets. Immediately in that group, everybody piled in. Okay, I can come by before work. I can come by after work. I can come by in the evening. That's just our circle. Our circle is very strong. We had a little thing that we put up a while back that said, "My group doesn't tear each other down. We build each other up." And we call ourselves the village for a reason. We've all raised each other's kids. We've all taken care of each other's houses. We've all taken care of each other's cars. It is a family that we weren't born into. It was a family that we chose. There's not a lot of negativity in our direct circles.
Cool. Now, with you saying that, actually, Fear, go. You were going to say something.
Sort of to what Gerrimy was saying about people just sort of latching on way too hard to a specific thing. I actually just told this story to somebody earlier today. It's my wife Jess, by the way.
And that's Gerrymy's that just popped up.
So I've mentioned this a few times on the show. There's the IDW comic series there, More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. It was popular online. There were a lot of people who were just fans of that, and they became really close to the characters and things. And so that series and they rebooted it under a new author, Brian Ruckley. And when it started, the initial hook of the new series was there hasn't been a murder on Cybertron in ages because it's the golden age. Somebody has turned up dead. We have to figure out who it was. And Ruckley opted to make the bot that died Brainstorm, who's usually a pretty obscure character. But Brainstorm had been one of the leads in More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light. And Ruckley said later, they brought him in because he was an outsider. This wasn't intentional. But the portions of the fandom that were fans of More Than Meets the Eye and Lost Light, they took this very seriously, and they viewed it as like a slight against the previous author and the slight against the previous series and the slight against the character that many of them have been close to because, because of the way they just turned up dead at the start of the next issue. So I think of an example of people bonding too closely to something, but then also, in this case, it was the creator that got the flack specifically.
So what you're describing there is what we would call like a parasocial relationship. And you can see this in real life just as much as you can in fandoms and stuff like that in communities. Lianne, you haven't had a chance to say anything yet. Do you want to chime in on this? When I was looking at your website, I saw that you do a good bit with relationships and mood issues.
Yeah, so my take on a lot of this is very much about the importance of having community and for people not to feel alone. So I did happen to see the Green Ranger when he was at the event in January, and he was quite remarkable, to be honest. And I think he brings a very important message to the world, and that is about mental health and about how important it is for mental health awareness, and especially when we talk about men and mental health, because it seems to be so much more difficult for men to access the services. And not that it is more difficult, it's harder for men themselves to access it because of the stigma that society holds. And that very much is kind of the message that he promotes, is that, it's okay to seek help. And I think groups like this are very important. When we talk about the numbers, I only have the Canadian stats. I'm sure, Gerrimy, you have the American ones, but in Canada, 45 to 5,000 people a year commit suicide. 75% are men. So, I think there is an issue that needs to be discussed, and places like this in the community are very important in helping people to feel connected, to feel a sense of belonging, to help with that mental health issue.
Now, as Gerrimy, I guess, threw the question over to Lianne, thinking back to when I was a guest on by the Wayside, and with the question that I felt that I didn't answer enough, essentially saying that if you get negativity within a fandom, you should search for either search for people that support you and that kind of bring you up. But in a sense, what does happen and I'll throw this over to you, Lianne. How should a person try to deal with that negativity within a fandom? And one that I'm thinking of, it's like, someone dresses up as their favorite character, but then they're being shamed because they're not the same color as that character, or their body type isn't the same shape as that character. So then what does that person do? Whereas like now they don't feel safe being a part of that community.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that is a human need, right? The need of and sense of belonging and acceptance. That is a very basic human need, which ties into the need for safety. So in that space, those individuals are no longer safe, which then creates a lot of conflict within themselves, which is why a lot of people do come to therapy. It's to find that self-acceptance again that they have lost due to either online bullying, in-person bullying, when somebody starts to get toxic in a group or in the fandom. So, I mean, again, it's about helping individuals to find self-acceptance because, many people believe the myth that achievement is self-confidence. However, self-acceptance is actually what creates confidence.
Now, I'm going to throw this over to Shaw. Shaw, are you there and can hear me on your mic? Or on your headphones, I should say. Or I think he has stepped away for a moment.
Okay, good talk.
Give him a moment.
What I will, Spin, if I can interject, what I will say, if you are into a fandom and you get bullied for something because, like you said, the body type might not be correct or whatnot. Listen, Forza's a lot of the same way. You've got your dedicated guys that get on that game for road racing, other disciplines being like drifting or drag racing or stunt driving. Okay, all of us make fun of each other, and if you are a drifter, then you are going to gravitate toward the people in the game that drift. Same way with the fandoms. Okay, you're going to gravitate more toward the people that are into exactly what you're into with shared interests. So I guess you get what I'm trying to say there. There are niches of people within fandoms, and you got to find your little subgroup of people that give you the support that you need.
Now, before I throw this back to Shaw, with you saying that, I mean, within the Transformers community, and I mean, this happens in many communities. Transformers has been out since 1984 till today. A lot of times in many groups, you'll have a lot of us who are late 40s, early 50s. We grew up on the early stuff, so we're attached to the early stuff. Fortunately, Transformers has still been coming out for decades and decades, so it brings in new fans, but somewhere along the way, the newer fans hate the older fans, older fans hate the newer fans, and it creates this whole other, it just creates multiple arguments. And now I'll throw it over to Shaw. Being an admin within a Facebook group, and I'm an admin of a larger group as well, including our smaller group, but you see a lot of stuff where it's like, someone will post a picture, then everyone, instead of either embracing it, they start arguing it. So then, you have to kind of come in and police the group in terms of just the personalities just attacking each other. What do you say to that? Which one that just happened yesterday?
Well, as far as policing it, no. I've had to come in and hold Batman in the damn group. Just lurk in the corner. Just waiting for something to pop up so I can, don't do that. Don't do that. Hey, you're going to Arkham for 13 days. Hey, you're going to Arkham for 24 hours. Hey, you know what? We're just gonna just send you to the Phantom Zone. Goodbye. And that can get insidious when people are like, "You're not doing your job" and such forth like that. We're a Transformers fan group. We should be supporting each other. We should be showing love and not getting off topic of said Transformers. Whether it's one agenda or another agenda. We're here for Transformers. That's our common base. Let's keep it so. And that's the hardest thing about being an admin because you have to deal with that, specifically in the Transformer group. You have to deal with that a lot. And if other admins aren't doing their thing and at least one of us is trying, then it all comes down on us who are trying. Instead of, let me become an admin and help these guys out. They seem we need help. People don't think that way. But it is what it is.
This crazy thing in
mod.
Facebook groups, if you see something that you don't particularly like, you just keep scrolling.
This is true.
Yeah. That's how
No,
you
I have to
escape
tell
the
you I
algorithm.
don't like it. I have to tell you I don't like it. Why? I do not understand that mentality. Look,
And
The engagement.
just keep on going by. Just keep
and
on
on
going
top of saying I don't like it, and then post that I'm going to leave this group. And a lot of people are like, "Who are you?" I'm like,
Yeah. This is not an airport. You do not have to announce your departure.
Like for real, you don't. But
I feel
it's
like a big part
unfortunate.
of.
"Oh, sorry, go
Sorry,
ahead."
go ahead.
I feel if people just listen to one piece of advice, if you really want to fight things that you don't like on social media, don't post about it, don't comment on it, don't like it, don't dislike it, just don't give it any attention. You will make it lose strength in the algorithm. That is the trick. And if you have a problem with certain people posting content, make your own so people see yours instead of theirs. Thank you.
Cool. Which
I'm done.
RJ mentioned in the comments. He said, "Great conversation. I think there's also a lot of disconcernment and knowing when a certain support or interest group becomes toxic and it's time to move on." Which I've seen in one Facebook group years ago where, and it's the only time I've ever seen it. And before I say that, I mean, some groups, they allow like just anything where it is just like everyone come in, have your say in, and we all get along. But this one group, people started arguing with each other. Then the admins started arguing with each other, and the admins started blocking other admins to the point to whoever started this group just decided to like block everyone. And it was basically just that person where they just posted their own pictures and liked their own pictures because like everyone was kicked out and left the group. And I'm like, to the point that admins are fighting each other, it's like, then what's the point of the group?
You know what that sounds like? That sounds like the story of the UK Transformers with the Autobots.
Well,
It does, I swear.
and you know what? I'm gonna go over to Lianne for a second, because I did send you the video of the Galvatron episode in season 3 of Web World. And I think I think you would have the best knowledge in describing this episode to our viewers before we analyze it.
Gosh, okay, Web World. So, Galvatron notoriously was not a stable individual in the 3rd season of the cartoon, to the point where his troops were considering open mutiny against him. And this led to, I believe, Cyclonus, who was portrayed as, a loyalist to him, sending him to basically a therapy planet. And while on this therapy planet, attempting to undergo, like a mental health evaluation. And in the end, they were going to lobotomize him, I think. But Galvatron actually destroys the web world and is like, nope, I'm coming back and taking over. not exactly the most accurate or accurate view of mental health, but it is a well episode. Diane Duane, the novelist, wrote it. It's a bit of a satire.
Yeah, because looking up Duane, yeah, she did work as a psychiatric nurse for 2 years, and a lot of her novels were based on her experience in a sense of this is how the patients were treated, and if it didn't work, let's go down the road of like these extreme measures that definitely won't work or almost just makes the situation worse. um Jeremy, what would you say to that?
So I feel like Leanne and I both are just cringing internally. I would be very curious as to when Miss Duane was a psychiatric nurse, because that had to have been in the 70s or 80s.
Yes.
We have moved significantly further in the field of mental health, particularly in the areas of treatment. More often than not, what you hear for like the horror stories, The One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Clockwork Orange, those ways of using mental health as propaganda or the quote-unquote brainwashing, was primarily using tropes that we saw pre-Reagan and during the things that led to the deinstitutionalization movements in the late 60s and 70s and 80s. Since then, honestly, it is very difficult, and I can speak for the United States anyways, to stay hospitalized for a significant period of time. And the treatments, we go from least restrictive. My goal when working with someone, and any clinician's goal, is to help you be your functional best within the community. If you're in a hospital, you're not necessarily in the community anymore. The hospitalization isn't going to mystically or magically make someone not mentally ill. It prevents you from the negative aspects of a mental illness causing harm to yourself or someone else. So I feel like there's a lot of misconception and that confusion leads to that stigma, and that prevents folks from wanting to get out and reach out for help. If we looked at mental health in the same way you do any physical health issue, we would be a significantly worse off nation and world. I mean, if you looked at it as, well, Mr. Magnus, don't go to the hospital. I know you're having a heart attack, but that's just something that's all in your head. Or did you hear what happened to Spin earlier? He committed diabetes. We realize just how ridiculous that sounds when we phrase a physical health issue as a mental health one. But your brain doesn't magically exist outside of your body. It's here too. Your mental health is your physical health. People will turn around and have a bad interaction with a therapist or a psychiatrist and then decide they never want to do anything with mental health anymore. Imagine you did that with dentistry or your physical health doctor or something like that. There is more than one therapist out there. Sometimes it's like dating. You just got to keep going till you find the right one. And that's okay. The worst thing you can do, though, is keep yourself separated and isolated, because then you have no one to argue those negative impulses and thoughts that are getting worse and worse in your head. Sorry, went off on a little bit of a tangent. But
Good tangent.
It's a good tangent.
I appreciate the affirmation. Thank you. But yeah, long story short with that, that's a big piece of some very old, very tried ideas of quote-unquote awareness, when folks didn't really have the wherewithal or the words to understand how to talk about mental health. Now, thankfully, more recent generations, particularly younger ones, are far more comfortable discussing mental health and mental health issues. The problem is sometimes they're talking to each other, and when we don't have professionals that get into that field or people that have a good understanding of mental health, those misconceptions just breed into further misconceptions.
Now, as you were speaking, with younger people, and I know Transformers has younger fans as well. In the description of this video, I listed the suicide prevention line, and 911. And fortunately for both Canada and the United States, 911 is the same. Suicide hotline is 988. So that's the same for Canada and the U.S. Suicide has become, unfortunately, has become a large issue that a lot of people are not aware of, and I could see this happening in the fandoms where, again, you're going into a fandom, Transformers, Forza, GI Joe, Gem, anything, looking for acceptance, wanting to be a part of that community, but then you're getting pushback from that, but then you may be already getting pushback at home, at work, and other places. What should someone in that state, especially for younger audience viewers, or anyone at any age, what should someone do? And let me throw that over to Lianne, and I know, Sedum, you have your hand up, so I'll go over to you just after. But Lianne, what should someone do in that situation?
So first I want to say that I agree with Jeremy, that sometimes you have to test the waters with multiple therapists, because, and actually that is one of the very first things I say to any client that comes to me is, if you don't feel like we're a fit, please find someone else. Because if you're going to go into a session and you're going to be vulnerable with somebody and put all of your emotions and your pride and everything else on the table, you don't want to do it with somebody where you don't feel safe. So I think in answer to that question, Spin, partly it's finding someone safe and just being able to speak with somebody, having those feelings validated, and feeling like they're being heard is probably one of the most important things. Being seen, being heard, feeling like you are being validated. I mean, you're feeling what you're feeling. There is no wrong feelings. You're feeling what you're feeling. And for somebody even just to hear that, it's very comforting. And it helps them to recognize that they are important, their voice is important, and that there is help out there for them. So find whoever you can find, whether it's a sibling, a parent, a teacher, a coach, a friend, whoever. And as an adult, I mean, a friend, call a hotline, call, a parent or anybody that you can think of that will pick up the call.
Cool. Sedum, I know you had your hand up. What were your thoughts?
I was gonna say, like, something or some people I had help, some good help from, that, and sometimes people forget that there is some cross pollination, whether it's med, phys, physical health doctors, mental health doctors, ambulance drivers, police officers, and I know, let's just say I was having a bad night mentally, and I was having some thoughts, and I was coming back, and I just stopped at the police officer and say, "Hey, I'm having thoughts doing self harm," and even police officers, when I mean, they'll help you out and they'll like give you a ride home so you don't, or get, and then if you need to be like, someone to take, hey, could you take, whatever these medicine I was thinking of trying to intentionally OD, and they'll like take them home. I mean, away from you if you bring them to them, and they'll make sure you get home safe, and they'll check in on you, like, the next day. Make sure you got, and days after, weeks after. So I mean, so people, I think, sometimes forget that there is cross pollination. I know we already had. I think it was Jeremy that said, sometimes we forget that mental health is also physical health. So, and you get, obviously, a good physical doctor is going to remember, would make the point that Jeremy said, whereas some older physical doctors kind of like, blow off stuff if it's on, all in your head.
No, I know. Or sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
So one thing I want to point out is, so 988, That's a relatively recent thing. Uh, Within the last 3-4 years, it's become 988. Before that, you may have heard of it as 1-800-273-8255 or 1-800-273-TALK. Now, the downside of that is pretty obvious, right? If you're in a mental health crisis, you don't want to look at somebody and be like, I need you to call 1-800-273-8255. You call 988, just like you call 911. Now, the second part of 988, yes, it is the National Suicide Hotline, Lifeline, but that second part is really important, and that is, it is actually the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. A crisis, and I can speak to this because I do a lot of our research for my state on the 988 system here where I work out of. The top 3 reasons why someone reaches out to 988. Suicide is not the top 2. It's friends and family, mood issues. Suicide's number 3. Most people just want to feel connected and want to feel like someone cares and is listening. And even if that's just another voice on the phone, like Sedum had mentioned, or just another hand reaching out there just to let you know that there's other people there that care about you, that matters. It is such a powerful feeling because the reason why, in many cases, people die by suicide is because they can. There's not something that they view that is stopping them. There isn't a structure, a connection, something there that they feel a connection to that is strong enough to kind of hold that away. And systems like 988, therapists, your friends, your community, your fandoms, those make a massive difference in creating those connections that people desperately need.
We agree.
Now, one guest who, unfortunately wasn't able to join us this evening, London Green Ranger. I'm going to play a clip of the first time meeting him, which we did at Action Figure Comic Con. Just to give him a shout out because he's doing great things in the community. So I'm going to play this clip as we, since he's not here to join us this evening.
Hi,
Yeah.
my name's Tyler, but people call me the London Green Ranger.
Yeah, that's who you are and who you are. So that's the first thing off the top. So what made you decide to make being the Green Ranger into your whole thing?
Green is awareness for mental health, and I always used to bring awareness to mental health with music events. And then once Jason David Frank passed away, I kind of took it in my own hands and wanted to spread his legacy. And since then, I've won 5 awards with doing what I do, and now I show up to these to spread awareness and open people's eyes to positivity.
Oh, that's really great. So, what sort of activities do you do to raise that awareness?
So I do raffles, I do face painting events, I organize cosplay get-togethers, game nights, stuff like that. Right now at my booth, I have a raffle going on to raise funds for Child Can, which is an organization in London that helps families with children that are battling cancer.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure to plug your socials on here before we go anywhere. So tell me a little bit about putting this costume together. How did you bring it all together?
Well, 7 years ago, I went and purchased the helmet. I sat with the helmet for a few years, and then my friend bought me my first Green Ranger suit. And then since I was hooked, and then I upgraded to this one, and I've been doing it.
Green
since.
Wire.
Shout out to London Batman.
Oh, London. Oh,
The
right,
Green
London
Wire
Batman.
just one.
Did he help you out too?
Yeah, Sky Westman.
Oh,
He's the one that's kind of like pushed me to do this stuff.
Oh, excellent. Is the helmet one of the retail ones, or is it like a custom?
Yeah, it's one from the store. I got it at Toys R Us.
Yeah, because I know they did a couple of them. Was it the Bandai one or the Hasbro one? I'm just curious.
Hasbro, and then I think there's a Legacy one too.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And then you did you make this part yourself?
No, I didn't make anything
Oh.
that I'm wearing. It's all purchased online.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than the belt, it was customly done. So
Did you you grew up with Power Rangers then?
yeah,
Did you start like right at the beginning?
Yeah, right from Mighty Morphin, and even watch some of the old episodes where they originated from in
Super
Japan.
Sentai? Yeah. Yeah, they just stream that stuff now, so it's really easy to find if you want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what made you stick with the franchise after all this time?
Power Rangers and everything else in the 80s and 90s kind of like got me an escape out of my childhood. So watching it kind of brings back memories and how and what I did to conquer fears as a kid.
Yeah, so you think it has a good message for people?
Yeah, a lot of people want to hate on it, but if you really see past all the fighting and stuff, they have good messages.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite version of Power Rangers?
Mighty Morphin.
Oh, yeah. Okay. like first season straight from the start?
Yeah. More so when Green Ranger comes into play.
Yeah. It's pretty early. You think it's later, but I looked it up and he shows up like less than a third of the way into the first season.
Yeah. I'd love to stay and chat longer, but I also have my guest table over there.
Oh, okay. You have important things to do.
I want to thank you. I'll leave you guys with something I always say to everybody. If you got a dream, if you got a goal, if you got a vision, go out and get it. It's your life. Don't let anybody else tell you how to live it.
Those very good words.
No, and let everyone know again where to find you.
You can find me on Instagram, London Green Ranger 519. You can find me on Facebook, London Green Ranger, TikTok, London Green Ranger 519, and also on X/Twitter, Tyler Stewart 88.
All right, thanks. Thank you for taking a little bit of time.
Yeah, no problem. You guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Oh, thank you, and a complimentary mug for you to just hanging out with us for a minute.
Oh, thank you very much. I will definitely look out for you guys' stuff and share it. Thank you very much.
And you know what? I'm impressed because I know with everyone, you know, the community and the love that we have for the community, but to focus on the mental health aspect of it, that's very important.
Trust me, I try to focus on it, even though people try to tell me that mental health is not a real thing, when they obviously don't struggle. I myself struggle, but I do what I do and make people happy, and their happy fuels me and kind of puts a damper on my struggle, kind of like makes me feel better.
It's a very important message,
Yes.
and I agree with it very much.
It was nice hanging out with you guys. I'm going to get back to my table. Stop by, we'll take a picture. I have a Power Ranger Command Center backdrop.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. So that is a London Green Ranger who is you can find him on his socials.
So what you're saying is the London Green Ranger has a Chilton Primus coffee cup, and I do not.
Hey, I don't have one either.
Trust
you
me,
know-
I feel it. I feel it.
Madness. I want a Children of Primus cup.
Wait, you're talking to the wrong person. I don't even have one.
You know what? That will get into a whole other conversation because then we start getting into the political talk in terms of shipping things across borders and but I guess in the one thing, and I know within building up this episode, and I know we won't have time to talk about it during this, so we definitely have to have a part two. But what I've come across, and Shaw came across this as well, recently is groomers grooming within the community. And it's an unfortunate thing because, you know, fandoms involve people of our age, but then right down to children. So then to see that there's adults who are now grooming, you know, younger fans, and unfortunately I don't have the names at the moment. One young fan who's also a content creator has called out another content creator for grooming all sorts of sexual advances and inappropriate actions at conventions, online conversations. And they recorded all of these. So they took clips and videos of all these inappropriate actions and called out this content creator. The content creator, after being called out and a few other people calling them out, suddenly, you know, were no longer fans of this fandom, took down their videos, and then decided they were going to make religious videos to kind of deflect that they were a good person. I
I
don't.
know who you're talking about. I won't
Yes,
say nothing,
yeah,
but
yeah. So I don't have all the details, but that's kind of the track record of what's happening. I guess, Leanne, what would you say in terms of as adults in online groups and everything? What should we look out for to help protect younger fans? Including that we also have a young collector in disguise within our collective. So what should we do to look out for that?
That is a huge topic right now, especially with the way everything has gone online. Everything is now online. So the kids are online and they're online a lot. It's unfortunate, but I think as adults, just this group, for example, I think when we saw Impactor coming into the group, who is a younger person, a younger teen, you know, speak with the parents. I don't think there should be any adult reaching out to a child without, some type of communication with the parent, especially if, you're sending gifts and you're doing things like that. Because I mean, as a parent, if a 50, 60-year-old man started sending my 12-year-old presents, I would be asking questions, right? So I think it's important that you keep that communication with the parents open. And if we see somebody else that's being inappropriate, that we are calling that out as the adults to protect the children. I mean, because children often are intimidated and they don't know or don't see it. So I think it's our job to reach out and make sure that they are protected.
And Jeremy, would you like to add anything to that as well?
Sure. So, I think the term grooming is one that can be very difficult to apply in situations that aren't the most obvious ones. So, in our terms, what we're describing as grooming is when an adult is systematically engaging in behavior to slowly gain the trust of a youth. You usually will see this with when there's a power difference, right? A teacher, a coach, youth leader, stuff like that. In fandoms, it tends to be folks that are part of a larger cosplay community or authors of popular fandoms, right? Now, the difficulty is, in some cases, as terminology in mental health and activism has become more geared towards protecting marginalized groups that also use those terms for harsher ways, which tend to be those that are anti-LGBTQIA, homophobic, and racial, will use terms like grooming as a way to further marginalize those that are in those those subcultures like the LGBTQ community, and will accuse older gays, for instance, or older homosexuals that are trying to work and help younger people develop a safe and inclusive area as grooming. So I feel like it is very difficult, and it's a very challenging discussion to have. Another way that we can see this being frequently weaponized is for those that are already in marginalized communities, such as those that are in sex work. They will often find themselves under attack by politicians and lobbyists that are intent on barring them from social platforms in order to advocate for their health and their rights. More often than not, what we start to see is those people will use grooming as a term to further marginalize those folks and silence those voices. Now, if we are discussing, and going back to your topic, things that we need to watch out for in terms of those adults that are engaging in behaviors to gain the trust and access to young persons in a way that they can prey upon them, then what we would want to be looking for is if an adult is taking a young person to private areas, particularly if you're at a conference or a con and you see an older man or an older woman taking a younger person that's not their child off to a further secluded area. that's something that we need to pay attention to. And there are some terrific trainings out there that can teach us how to engage in what's called bystander intervention. For example, Green Dot, and this is offered through RAIN, many of your local sexual assault support services, and in your communities, is an excellent training to help adults learn to recognize those signs. There ways that we can safely intervene in a way that prevents what could be a very harrowing and traumatic experience for a young person.
Oh, very, very good. Magnus, I know you've been sitting quiet for a while there too. What thoughts do you have on the topic?
I personally haven't seen it. I go to a lot of conventions, and I'm a member of a lot of different fandoms, from Transformers, furries, cosplay. Maybe I just don't go to bad cons. I don't know. But I do also know. I know my mentality on it. You see, there's the thing on Facebook a while back. Can you believe this person would hurt somebody because they did this to their kid? Let me put it out there this way. I would hurt somebody because they hurt somebody else's kid. It ain't got to be my kid.
Hurt somebody. I know right where to get them.
Oh,
Just no wood chipper.
it's going to be bad. It's going to be real bad. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that in any of the conventions that I've gone to. Of course, I've never been to any of the conventions that are out of the central United States. Indianapolis, Lexington, Louisville. I think that's about St. Louis. I've been to St. Louis one. So that's as far as I've traveled, and all of our cons are usually very laid back. We don't have issues.
Stuff like that really happens more in the big cities like LA and New York and stuff like that. That's where stuff like that really happens.
And like I say, if I was at one of those, yeah, I might be the one that they find behind the dumpster with the shiv in my back, but I would have done something about what I saw. Yeah, it doesn't happen in my area that I've seen. I'm not gonna say it doesn't happen. That I've seen, I've not been privy to it. But yeah, it's disgusting to me. As far as what we're talking about, if we're still talking about the grooming terminology, but I don't see a whole lot of the other aspect of what we were talking about, the shaming. We support everybody for just trying. Yeah, no, but most of the comic book superheroes and superheroines, they're all drawn to be the physically impressive piece of art that brings you to the fandom. And hell, unless you're already getting paid six figures for being a supermodel, you don't have that physique. So have fun with it. I was Optimus Prime in blue jeans. I strapped an old railroad sign that I bent into plate armor around me and made my helmet out of a traffic cone, and went as the Road Warrior this year, just this past weekend. Made my apprentice a set of armor out of a stop sign, and we were photographed all over the place.
Nice.
We have fun with it. We had a great weekend. I don't think I saw anybody without a smile on their face until Sunday, and then it wasn't that they weren't smiling, they weren't having a good time, they just wore out.
Yep.
Yeah, the escalators were out, and only one elevator worked. So, yeah, the up and down those stairs. I wanted to check that today. Where are my steps this weekend? I was just curious earlier. I was like, boy, but we putting them in this year.
While you're looking for that, RJ says, I think a bridge needs to be created where parents and kids meet halfway and try to connect or have regular touch bases where they can talk openly about certain topics and issues going on in kids' lives. And says regarding Transformers fans, where you have G1's fans and versus newer fans, I like when a streamer just makes it clear from the get-go that they only respect or support G1 or vice versa, and there's no confusion. And then I guess to elaborate what he's saying, G1 being like the first generation of Transformers, so that's from like 1984 to about 91, 92. And then almost every decade has different versions of Transformers. Some groups will say, well, we only focus on the Transformers within this time frame, so anything else we won't accept it. And same with other ones where it's like, well, we only accept Transformers from 2000, so anything else we won't accept it. But then, someone will say, will accidentally post something or ask a question, and it just becomes a fight. And I've seen it actually in a DJ software that I use, where there's a Facebook group. Basically the group is a support group. Someone will post a question saying, hey, I have this issue with the software. Out of like 500 responses, one of them will say, well, maybe try this, try that. Someone else would be like, well, I don't have that issue. Okay, so how did that help? Read the manual. How did that help? I was there when they created the software. How did that help? Like, you're just fighting the person as opposed to offering help.
Ay, Dios mío.
18,622 steps yesterday. 16,429 steps today.
I'm tired just from hearing that.
I need a nap.
Yep. So so we've hit the 1 hour mark. I know it's it's a lot to take in terms of the mental health, and I definitely would like to do a part 2 and maybe even a part 3 of this again in the future, because we do have so many things upcoming. But before we round out, Gerrimy, what would you like to add before we end the evening?
Sure. First off, two things. One, I really appreciate my cheer squad that joined the chat. But I also want to just give a shout out to my amazing wife, Kristen. She is up late staying to watch this, and I really appreciated that. But I think the thing that is most important that kind of got centered around every topic and response we had is the importance of community. I can't understate enough how important communities are. And we can't be, it's not possible to have a functional community when you just have one. You can't just have one community. You can't just have one, your fandom can't be your only social plug, right? You have to have in real life social interactions to avoid that kind of parasocial development that you start to experience. But on top of all of that, if you need someone, if you need to talk, please reach out. If you don't have or feel like you have that connection that you need in your personal life, please reach out to 988. You can call that, you can text or chat. I believe it's 7878 or 748 and you text home, and you can reach it by text. You can also reach it online at 988lifeline.org, and you can be connected to somebody. And that is it is a completely free resource, and we realize just how expensive mental health can be. It's even more expensive when you don't do something for it.
Very good point. And then Lianne, any thoughts before we close the evening?
I just want to say that I agree with Mr. Magnus when he talked about his, community going out and being there for each other. Again, like Gerrimy said, that's so important, community and a sense of belonging. And having those people to call. I mean, reach out to your friends. Unfortunately, all of you are probably in the highest age, you're in the age group for the highest rate of suicide in men. So here's, send your buddies a text, check in with them, make sure everybody's doing okay, because you never know when somebody's struggling and when that, the difference that that text could make. So check in on each other, love each other, and stay connected.
That's right.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry, we got a pretty active group chat.
You mean your diary? Spin, I sent you a picture earlier.
Oh, yes.
We've touched on this topic a few times, and I think I've wanted to say it before, but I want viewers out there to know. Wait for you to bring up the picture.
Just give me a second. And while I'm getting the picture, I quickly mention that we are going to be at TFCon Toronto in second weekend of July. And also, while I'm waiting for the picture to load, I believe next week we're actually going to have an interview with Douglas Bailey, known as TF Berserker on YouTube. And he's the person behind the More Than Meets the Voice, the Transformer Legacy, which he's doing a Kickstarter on, and he's working on getting a few guests. I believe Vince DiCola is one of the guests that he has on his or that he's working towards on his documentary. So I do have the image, and let me see if I can quickly bring this up. Let's see. Actually, while I'm doing this, Shockline, you wanted to share something?
Oh, well, it was more of a request because tonight has been one of our more serious episodes. Actually, the most serious that I've been on. Yay, gotta have some serious. So I asked for one request. Can we end the night before we cut off? You know what I want to see, Spin.
Well, I'll see if I can pull that up. So I do have the image that Toy Warp
gotta
was
see
mentioned.
Charlie.
Okay, so Toy Warp, explain this image.
That is the roof of my Impala with a bullet hole in it.
Oh, God.
Oh.
If you notice, the bullet hole is coming from the inside of the car. In 2020, things were not good for me. I had taken a break from collecting because I was racing, but long story short, wasn't able to race anymore because somebody took me for all my money. I was really, really at a low point. Okay. The only reason I'm here talking about it now is because I was too inebriated to write the goodbye letter to the person I wanted to write it to. So afterwards, kind of had to take a look at things. And because I couldn't go racing, the next best thing was collecting my old toys. And there is absolutely a stigmata out there in society about, a grown man collecting the toys he grew up with or even new toys or whatever. I can tell you, I am here on this podcast today because I collect these toys. These toys are my mental health. These toys help me through my days. Not so much as a crutch now as it was after that. But collecting the toys is what basically saved my life. My Forza crew, they're the ones that keep me sober because I had, a problem with alcoholism before all that happened. So my Forza crew keeps me sober and the toys saved my life. Don't let anyone tell you, that something that you do that makes you happy is wrong. As long as it ain't hurting nobody else, you do you.
Right.
I thought, people should be aware of that. It doesn't matter what society says, you do you as long as it ain't hurting nobody else.
Yep.
I really appreciate you sharing that.
That's
And
real.
I feel like sometimes when we have those kinds of more graphic images, it can be a very stressful one, especially for folks. I am really happy you're still here. Uh, and you're right. Toys aren't just toys, right? Any more than we have action figures or dolls or card games or board games. It is a self soothing and relaxation and a mindfulness activity. It's something for you to be able to express yourself and express your identity. And that's real. That's fantastic. And I'm glad you have that.
I also just wanted to add something, and that is, self-care. That is a prime example of self-care and how, an adult can take care of themselves and create happiness. It doesn't matter how they're creating it, if they're creating it, because we often are, in these high pressure lives where we work, we work, we work, we work, we work, but we don't stop to have some fun. So I agree with all the comments, and I think the world is a better place with you in it, Toy Work. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, this is my happy place.
Oh yes. But,
Lots of happy place residents.
as we always make the ongoing joke that if any other collectors, if their figures are kind of disappearing, there's a gravitational pull over in Magnus's basement that just draws the other figures into his basement.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't had much to add this whole time. It's the job of like connecting me socially to people in a bunch of different circles here, physically at conventions, all across the internet. So it's definitely been a good to connect me with people. It's not the be all end all. It's the start of that, basically.
I fully agree. And RJ says, for real tour warp 100%, I'm glad you found solace in your collecting like I do, that it takes you into a bright place. Thanks for sharing toy warp. And I know we had a stream some months ago, and it was actually inspired from another content creator who was inspired from another one. And I know that's also a rabbit hole conversation where essentially it was men who were deciding to focus on their collection and not dating anymore. So I mean, we'll leave that for for another day, but focusing on a collection or things you love, myself getting back into DJing, you need that happy space away from reality at times, and having that hobby or something you love, that you put your heart into, and you get a feeling from it. That's very much needed.
I was gonna say, I think with like toy collecting or playing video games, I mean, if you have like me, where my
Yep.
skin got so screwed up, like just a cat tickling would be enough to scratch it. I mean, being able to get in toy collecting kind of allowed me to re-regulate my touch sensitivity and get it back to normal, tolerable levels that didn't feel like I was physically gonna go nuts just from my senses overwhelming me, my sense of touch, because it went from my least significant sense I cared about to I didn't have a choice in the matter because my skin was just overactive. So I mean, it can get you comfortable where you do the quote unquote normal adult stuff, you know, because it gives you something more low key and you can control. It's just in your hands, and then you get comfortable with that. Then maybe you're talking about the toys, or you're going into like a model kit build night somewhere, or a card game night or something like that, and you get that social aspect as well, and it builds up to getting back to the full range of physical interactions you can have with other people. And it just starts with just messing with little objects, toys or whatnots in your hands to get re-regulated, re-grounded.
I love how you keep saying the adult this and adult that. Look, man, I signed up for the adulthood to drive and have sex. I didn't know about the rest of the stuff, okay? I didn't know about it, and I'm not
I
down
know,
for it.
like-
I want to cancel my subscription. I'm just going to be in my blanket fort, playing with the Transformers. That's it.
That's it. No, Shaw, we're gonna have to connect after the stream. In terms of what you're requesting. So, because we'll have that for next week definitely. But Gerrimy and Lianne, I want to thank both of you for being a guest on our stream.
Absolutely.
Because I know we talk about toys, but within toys and everything, the mental health it affects everyone and everything. So it's important that we jumped on this topic, and I'm really happy you guys took the time out to hang out with us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Cool. I thank you for everyone else who, they always take their Sunday nights to hang out with us. Toy Warp Fair, Magnus, and Shaw Clan, and everyone in the comments. I know some streams, the comments end up being their own stream in itself, which is always fun when it happens. But do like our channel.
I am the destroyer.
Like our videos, subscribe to our channel, to all our channels listed in our description, and also and then within the serious topic, if any crisis, we have 911 and 988 listed in the description below in the video. So reach out to those numbers, reach out to people close to you, and and there's always someone that's out there that can help you. So as we say at the end of all of our streams, again.
Hang on one second. Lianne and Gerrimy, I just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. We loved your insight on all of this. It's nice to have something that's not just us talking about it. We actually have people who this is their line. You come to us to hear about Transformers, Magic, and all these other collections that we do and everything. And when we decided we were going to do a mental health thing, I immediately contacted Gerrimy, and I was like, hey, well, you need to at least tune in. Okay, and then he was like, well, hey, do you want me to come on? And I was like, well, let me connect you with the man. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us and putting fact to the fiction.
May I close out the stream with an address to the audience real quick?
Yes.
So all of our audience members, as we were saying earlier, you guys are not alone. And I want to prove this fact, because if you love Transformers as much as we do, which you're probably here because you do, then you yourself are probably too a child of Primus. Welcome to the club.
Very good.
Yes.
Outstanding.
Cool. And on that note, until all are one.
Till all are one.
All are one.
Till all are one. Till all are.
We now return you to the children of Primus.